Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Group A looked to be pretty straightforward, but as we've learned in the second round robin, everything can change. And in this case, everything has been thrown out the window. We take a chance to look at the standings. Of course, three-way tie, Rogue, FPX, Cloud9, all at 2 and 4. Of course, their head-to-head is even as well. And then we have to play 2 tiebreaker games now to decide who advances from Group B. Cloud9 have the shortest average win time, which you might not have thought was important, but in this one exact circumstance, it's super important. It means they have the top seed. So FPX is going to play versus Rogue, and then the winner will face off versus Cloud9 for a quarter-final spot. This is huge.
Yeah, and it's going to be good from Cloud9 to just be able to watch this match, immediately see what the drafting strategy is going to be for both Rogue, if they're going to run it back with the Fiddlesticks as an example, or if how FunPlus Phoenix is going to be taking it. I know the Sylas was a look that they had, but it failed for them. So at least we get that perspective. But Dracos, it didn't have to be like this.
I mean, I definitely know that it didn't have to be like this, but I want to know more about this team on your screen who certainly feel like it didn't have to be like this.
Yeah, it's so crazy coming in, right? Because a lot of people even had FPX over EDG, who they lost to in the LPL final, but it just feels like they haven't had the same, I don't know what the word is, magic mojo coming in. Like the meta definitely not as good for them in my opinion. You could see Tian really failing with like the jungle picks coming in. That's something we've hit on almost every time FPX have played. Yeah. But even like individual underperformances coming in, I think Doinb definitely not living up to the hype that he came out of in LPL. Tian there with him. I think bot lane has looked decently consistent, and then Nuguri having some up and down games.
There's some picks that he's not willing to play. LeBlanc is a good example of it, but you know, I've always felt like Doinb, when he's on his rise, as a great example, is when he actually started to take wins and was a real presence.
Where's the Kled?
Where's the... Look,
okay.
You don't have to tell me that.
I mean, it is maybe time for something crazy. And I wish I could say on the opposite side for Rogue that this is like massive underperformance, but people didn't know what version of Rogue we were going to see. Were we going to see domestic, regular season, hyper-dominant best-of-1 Rogue, or are we going to see, well, kind of falling apart best-of-5 Rogue? And we've gotten a little bit of both, but 2-4 kind of points more towards the latter.
I do feel like Rogue have actually been one of the Western teams coming in that like definitely have impressed me, right? Both in NEU kind of being up and down throughout the tournament so far, but Rogue have had strong points. Hansama's looked pretty much consistently good throughout the tournament. I think Inspired as well, having some up and down games. Of course, in their win earlier against FPX, the Fiddlesticks, which me and Raz were questioning all day, like, you know, jungle support 2v2 doesn't really work. FPX have a ton of sustain. He still made it work. Found the big ultimates for the team fights, and yeah, I think Rogue have looked pretty decent.
Yeah, and what I'm looking forward to is it is in that bot lane, because while Hansama has been performing really well, Trymbi, on the other hand, has actually been having a lot of mistakes this day. And so, like, for this team to succeed, first of all, draft resources straight to the bottom lane. Pull as much as you can in giving Hansama the best matchups, because he is a Draven player, right? He does have a strong pool. And then on top of that, Odoamne on his Jayce was just spectacular and was destroying the Lulu in these games, or at least the last game that they had. I really enjoyed his play, and I want to see more of it.
Yeah, and I think this is absolutely massive after what has been a relatively difficult tournament for him overall. Now, of course, important to note as we look at these highlights that Rogue will not have the luxury of blue side this time around. FPX was the higher seed in this little mini bracket, so they have selected blue side. So some adjustments will have to be made, but I like what you're talking about. Odoamne, big step up in performance, and I think the thing that scares me, not as a host, not as anything, none of that, just as a fan, is like, okay, you've bombed a lot of games, you've had a couple shining moments, like which version of Rogue do we get now?
Yeah, it seems different consistently, and for me, kind of hit on what I'd like to see. I think the creativity of the team is something that's shining with Inspired. For me, watching his play, being like one of, if not the best jungler in Europe coming into this tournament, and it looks like performing on the sticks. The sticks. And I want to see more of that. And I think if we get Inspired playing at his best, and the same with the bot lane, that we should have confidence there, where I look towards that, as you mentioned, blue side being picked for FPX. And if we see another Lee Sin game there from Tian, I'm starting to feel like FunPlus can pull that win and then go into the next stage.
I feel like at this point, I mean, if I'm FPX, maybe I just take the Viego. I mean, he was, I believe, 12-1 on the Viego in LPL summer in both regular season and playoffs. It was the one convincing win they've had here in this tournament. But I definitely think getting Tian on something he's comfortable on is key. And even though I think Crisp looked good on the Lulu in their last match, Crisp is definitely like the key engage for FPX. You saw Doinb on the Sylas. I think a little bit over-aggressive sometimes, so having Crisp on a main engage role, I think will do quite well for FPX.
Certainly have to hope that it will, because at the end of the day, when we look at these two teams, I mean, this is an insanely high pressure situation, right? Do or die. We've seen underperformances, and this is the sad thing, because I think EU fans had some faith in Rogue, some hope in Rogue,
Yeah.
a lot of faith in FPX. I felt like finals was a fluke, but we've seen so many individual underperformances that you're not betting on things that you've reliably seen, because we had earlier the Greg scene for Nuguri, where he's absolutely shut down, as highlighted earlier. We had this Tian game. We've had Trymbi, who did so good domestically in regular season, but continued to struggle to adapt to best of 5. So it feels like there are no safe bets on anybody in this matchup.
And I think what will win out in the end is usually like veterancy, being here before. Because these days, while it's long for us and the fans at home, it's long for the players. Like the grueling mental pace of these games, having to go game after game, the roller coaster that it is, and now knowing you're in a tiebreaker. I look to the side of Rogue, and knowing that Hansama has been there before, it gives me confidence in Rogue. So there is that. It's going to be fun, and it looks like a pick ban's about to start.
Pick ban is going to start. One word prediction, go.
Oh!
One.
But FPX.
FPX.
Easy. All right, everything on the line for FPX and Rogue as they look to earn a showdown with Cloud9 for a quarterfinal spot. Vetti, take it away.
Thank you very much, Dracos. Let's get on into it.
Let's get into it.
2 games to round out the group. We'll hark your mind back to 2017 when Longzhu, with Khan as their top laner, went 6-0. It was the last time we had three teams tied at 2-4. We had a tiebreaker, and it was Fnatic who came out on top then. Here we'll see if FPX can take down Rogue in game 1, or if Rogue will be facing up against C9 later. Draven, Lucian, and Leona banned away by FPX. Hard bot lane focus. Irelia and Yuumi taken away.
They have said,
Rogue.
no, Hansama, no, you are not allowed to carry. And they have removed as many tools as possible to prevent him from doing just that. The respect also going to be shown towards Tian. So what will the first pick be? The Twisted Fate for Doinb. Now, Larssen is known for playing the Sylas, but typically he prefers things like the Orianna as an answer to it. Usually Rogue shift more towards the team fighting rather than trying to match on the side lanes. But I think that with the Miss Fortune still open, it's something that Hansama can look for if they want to try and get him on an AD carry to potentially carry with. But with things like the Jhin, you imagine that LWX would be more than happy to answer it. But it does seem that Larssen is saying, well, I'm down to play the Sylas side of this matchup.
Last time we saw Doinb on the Twisted Fate. He had a lot of damage in the later game fights, and as you say, no. Like, there's picking. It's not that Inspired cannot play Fiddlesticks. We've seen him play it well.
There's no way he
but
blinds
picking
it.
Fiddlesticks at this point blind with no enemy jungler already locked in.
But he's using the fear early. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, as a Nocturne main, you know a lot about fear. He's like obsessed with it. It's just paranoid. But yes, MF will in the end be the lock here for Hansama. So a very strong AD carry, great duelist. Has a lot of damage in later game fights if you can connect with your bullet time, because we've seen a few of those going wide. Jayce locked in here for Nuguri on the top lane.
So it is
alongside
full comfort for FPX. Like, look at this, a full topside focused draft. It is what we've been seeing, well, dominate a lot so far today. And I think that it is a very effective one. It's a clean one because they're challenging Odoamne here. They're saying, what have you got? What have you got in the top side of the map to really allow you to try and stop this? Because they haven't locked in the jungle yet. They haven't locked in top lane yet. And if they do lock in this Rakan, which they will, they can now ban out supports as an answer. They can mitigate what Crisp has an access to. They may choose to get rid of something like the Rel, something he has gone for, give you that engage. I just feel like LWX is looking at either a Kai'Sa or a Jhin. And I feel like Jhin is what he's primarily going to go for to try and synergize more with that poke style comp that FPX have gotten themselves with the Jayce and with the Twisted Fate and the Rapid Fire Cannon later.
Well, Rogue agree with the AD carry focus at least for these bans. They'll take away Aphelios. FPX can look up towards that top side if they so desire. Can look to the jungle as well. Could say, hey, Inspired. I'm not going to give you something like the Xin Zhao. I'm not going to give you, I mean, Talon or Graves as well. There is the Graves ban by FPX. Rogue have a wealth of options at their fingertips in terms of what to ban. But it's a single ban that could sometimes be the difference in games like this, making sure that you really set your lanes up for success. I like the Ezreal ban personally, just removes LWX's ability to be safe.
This to me suggests more of the Jhin. And the fiddle is going to be banned away. They are not letting him have it again. The respect has come through. Now, part of me thinks that Rogue will consider a Camille here. It's not the best matchup into Jayce, but you do know that it will eventually outscale. Oh, wait. Actually, this fits way more with the Rogue style. Weak side up towards the top side of the map. A potential winning matchup, but instead they're going to go for the Kennen. It was Odo that was playing this side of the matchup. They're now flipping it around, and remember that it was Odo in lane. It was going pretty even, but later on, Odo was able to get the better of Nuguri in the straight-up 1v1. He was massively impactful on the Jayce with the amount of poke that he offers, but now it's very clear that Rogue is going all in on the team fight. To me, they're looking at a Jarvan final rotation right now. Gives you some early game setup, also gives you a very reliable engage, but perhaps they want to put Inspired on something that can have a little bit more of a carry performance. With the Kiana still up and available, that is always something that they can go for and would combine well with their composition as FPX round out their draft with a very solid and reliable bot lane. Crisp gets himself Thresh, LWX gets himself Jhin. Makes sense with the context of their comp and also provides that extra bit of safety thanks to the land.
Yeah, of course, Thresh good into the Rakan as well. Definitely helps you out in the laning phase. And now Rogue, a long discussion as to this jungler, and is going to be the Jarvan. Good prediction there, Vedius. A few low mobility lanes for Inspired to play around, but so far at this tournament, I think a lot of people would agree Jarvan has been underwhelming at best most of the times he's been playing.
Well, pick 22% of the time, win percentage 40%. And Inspired he was massive in their last game against FPX. Thanks to the amount of damage and the flanks that he was able to find on that Fiddlesticks, you're not going to have that same type of carry performance on a Jarvan. It's going to be much harder. It's going to rely on the solo laners and the engage, but I will say Rogue have a lot of engage. They have a lot of tools to start fights, and FPX, obviously their early game plan is to play very much towards the top side of the map. They can look to try and attack side lanes with the global that they have on Twisted Fate and try and play through Nuguri. The question is, what will this early game look like? Because I think this whole game could be decided by how the early game plays out. We've seen both sides struggle when it comes to getting through the early game, and I think it's going to determine a lot what will happen. A lot of comfort on both sides, in particular for FPX. I think that anyone that's followed FPX will look at this draft and say, this definitely looks like an FPX draft to me. So let's see how they make things happen. Will they be able to turn it around? The tiebreakers are going to start. The winner will go up against C9. The winner will still stand a chance of making it to the World's quarter-final stage, and the loser will end up going home. Their world run will end.
FPX, previous world champions against Rogue, a number 3 seed from the LEC. Both regions with a lot of pride on the line. I think, speaking as someone from Europe, it's been a disappointing world so far, but if Rogue are able to make this run, it'll be all the brighter. LPL, FPX especially on the other side of the coin, will want this win. Like, to get knocked out by NA, to get knocked out by EU is just not something you want to see, and I'm sure the Bilibili forums will be full of a lot of copy pasta after this one if they end up losing.
That's definitely true. Odoamne starting with the E there. As Jayce already skilling in the queue. Trymbi going to sweep out the bot side, and a lot on the line of this game. No more second chances, no more opportunities. This is it.
We haven't said it today. Do you want to say the words?
Tell me.
Would you say it's make or break?
It is. It is make or break for both of these teams.
Good one, man.
Burst out into song. Burn it all down. Okay.
I mean, the singing lessons have been going well. So.
Right, so Viego starting on the bot side of the map, but it doesn't look like that Tian is going to get a leash, whereas Trymbi, is this some very clever ploy? Surely Crisp is going to check this. You can see his hesitancy to check the brush. Oh, okay.
I mean, they might not when MF walks into the lane.
But they don't know Trymbi's in there.
Yeah, so my thought is they see Hansama walk into that second bush. Trymbi has been hiding in his first bush and now can look for the fight. No. Single auto attack was less exciting than perhaps we'd built it up to be, but I do like that little bit from Rogue. Tiny bit of extra harass as Tian started down towards the bottom side. Neither jungler getting a leash.
So, yep, both junglers starting on the bot side and that pathing up towards top. Typically, Kennen will get priority against the Jayce early on. So it kind of makes sense to me that Inspired is pathing up towards the top side, whereas Tian just doing a full clear. He might look for a potential gank, or maybe he'll leverage the fact that they will have mid-prior to try and contest this top side scuttle, something to keep an eye on. But as I say that, we can also see Nuguri getting the first push. Knock up from Trymbi.
Early play there from Crisp. Trymbi knowing that he could go in with the grand entrance. LWX trying to trade back into this. Both AD carries low. LWX below half HP. Down to about 150 as the Ignite does tick.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, like, oh, the level 2.
Crisp will have play back up here, so can use
nice.
it. Trymbi dodges away from it. LWX
Wow.
now has 2 back.
A lot going on in these trades very early on between the two. I was surprised that Hansama didn't just turn around and hit LWX, because while he was reloading, there was a window there where I thought that Hansama and Trymbi really could have done some serious damage. But let's see if they expect this. All summoners are up and available. If Inspired goes to this gank, he's likely going to lose his top side.
You give up so much.
Yeah, you do give up a lot. And look at this ward as well, dropped by Doinb in the bottom river. Not going to spot out the Jarvan. As a good trade comes out from Nuguri in the top side.
And Nuguri really putting the hurt down onto Odoamne, who's down to half HP. Inspired now working his way up towards the top side of the map. A full camp and a half behind because of the little bit of time that he spent down in that bottom lane. And for the moment, no real advantages gained. Tian will be able to get this first scuttler of the game. And I wonder if Inspired will just give up both scuttles, allowing the FPX junglers to get ahead.
Well, so the thing is they don't know where Inspired is, so they don't know if he's topside, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to assume that he passed towards bot simply because that's where he has his prio. So they can make that safe assumption right now, but Jarvan is here. Odo forced a flash.
He's going to go back in, looking for the stuns here underneath the tower. Tian able to get away from this one. Odoamne still alive, and here comes Inspired. Nuguri dodges to the side, but still gets knocked up. Nuguri low, 100 HP on him. Inspired with flash. Martial Cadence for the kill. Tian now trying to trade underneath this tower, but Odo in Inspired. Oh, there's the TP coming in from Doinb. They're looking to keep this play going. Spectral Maw gets the stun. Tian possesses Odoamne and helps Doinb get the second kill.
Beautiful TP from Doinb to make that work out nicely for FPX. And Larssen didn't have mana to join the fight, which means that even if he did invest his TP, he likely wouldn't have been able to offer anything anyway. So really well played from Tian as we see another trade in bot lane.
Yeah, Trymbi there smartly waiting out the flay so he could dance back with the E. What you want to do on the Rakan in this sort of trading, and bot lane definitely going in Rogue's favor so far in these short burst windows, but a big lead now developed for Tian in the jungle, 1-0-1, and alongside that Doinb getting a kill.
And it's a strategy that many teams in this group have tried to utilize, shutting down Odoamne in the early game. It wasn't even a stacked wave, but they know that Odoamne is very squishy. And Odoamne, I think in this situation, just wants to try and leverage the tower, but he takes so much damage actually getting back underneath the tower, as we see it fighting bot.
Oh, Tian was lanterned in there. They're going to get the root onto Trymbi. The Ignite is sticking. Inspired is here as well. Tian's going to keep trading in. Blade of the Ruin King doing a little bit of damage, but Inspired doesn't actually have to go for this, just able to force the FPX bot lane away.
So the problem with Inspired trying to force a play there would have been that all of the summoner spells are still up for FPX, except for the Ignite, of course. But also, because Trymbi can't re-engage due to his HP, that would have been a 2 versus 3. And because Inspired doesn't have Flash, the moment he commits to that, he is not getting back out again. So not risking the numbers disadvantage there, he decides not to overcommit. And fortunately for Rogue, they do not lose anything off the back of it anyway. So FPX with a very small gold lead for the time being, largely building up towards the top side of the map. But I think that Doinb is going to be pretty happy with the kill that he's currently sitting on. Nuguri
will be pretty happy with the fact that he's sitting on a serrated duck as well. That lethality already stacking up on the Jayce. You can see Doinb and Larssen trading XP in the mid lane. Both the top lane is pretty even, both the junglers pretty even. Say a quarter of a level between the two of them. So pretty even across the board. Only 200 gold the difference between these two teams. And I did ask our stats team ready to have a quick historical look at the records of all these regions in tiebreakers internationally. LEC sitting at 10-3. They've actually only ever lost tiebreakers for first. They've never lost a tiebreaker to make it through to the quarterfinals. LPL with a pretty good record as well. And the LCS never won a tiebreaker in the World's group stage. They've actually only ever won one in play-ins.
Okay.
I think C9 have lost every tiebreaker that they've
Well,
played.
you're not filling them with a lot of faith, are you?
I mean, C9 definitely look like the best team today, so it would truly be some sort of disaster for NA if they're not able to take the win today.
You're just stacking those curses up, aren't you, Medic? Let's have a look at this. Inspired looking for a play on Nuguri. No mana there, but Tian is level 6, and Inspired should be aware of that. Sidestep comes through from Hansama. But I see Trymbi roaming up towards top.
There's the Destiny as well, stolen away as Larssen looks for Nuguri. Doinb coming in as well. Trymbi trying to join the fray, but Tian has actually gotten down to half HP before this really begins. Slicing Maelstrom available for Odoamne if they try and turn this around, but you can see Trymbi trying to battle dance away. Stunned up Tian. Spectral Maw was dodged there by Odoamne. Hansama surviving in the 2v1 in the bottom lane.
Okay, so the good news for Hansama is that he's not really losing a huge amount off the back of this. There's no real risk of a dive because of how many people are actually in the top lane. But Larssen did end up burning his flash, Tian as well, but because he's level 6 and because he has that ult, there was a real risk of him getting one reset and really snowballing that fight in their favor. So Rogue, they get paranoid, they don't overcommit, and look at Doinb. He's pushing in that mid wave now. He's going to catch a lot of farm, likely get himself a plate. Crisp again, just can't land those hooks on Hansama.
I mean, the thing with MF is she has so much passive movement speed just from her W that it's actually really difficult.
Of course.
Like, Crisp struggling a little bit, but no, not really his fault. I mean, Hansama's just a beast, to be honest. He's been practicing DDR before this, like, it's fancy feat, man.
Dodged everything. How do you even dodge that against the wall there? Absolutely crazy. We'll hit the level 6. Larssen, you're going to get forced back. Yeah, Doinb going to pick up more fire. I'm surprised that Larsen's actually ahead in CS right now. The fact that he has been matching Doinb on some of these roams, I guess that very first roam where Doinb TP'd to top is where that difference came through. But I'm having a look at the mini-map once again. I see Tian eyeing up that top lane. Looks like for now his priority is just getting the Herald on spawn, and given that Larssen has to base, doesn't have TP, this should be uncontested, and you imagine that Rogue should look to try and trade a Drake for this.
FPX probably want to use this up towards that top side, get Nuguri even more gold in his back pocket. Inspired is going to start up the Drake with the control ward to make sure that no one can spot him. Actually might look for a fight down towards the bottom side, in fact.
Oh, okay.
Good red buff back towards the Drake. Of course, we are around that second buff spawner time. You can see Inspired's red about to come off cooldown. You can see Tian's blue here as well. So Inspired using a small window here to steal away this red, but if you don't get the Drake off the back of it, it feels like you have lost a little bit of that neutral advantage.
Well, let's see what he does next. They're setting up for a dive on the bot lane. No TPs available. Destiny on cooldown as well.
Flash exhaust available here for LWX, though Hansama gets hooked. There's the exhaust. Hansama low underneath the tower. Bullet time just outside of turret range. Cataclysm coming out as well as LWX tries to flash away, but the Ignite is ticking. Hansama just needs a single auto instead. Trymbi will take it with the auto himself.
Hansama flashed at the end there because he thought he would get the kill and he would get tower aggro, but he ends up using that and Trymbi ends up picking up the kill. Now Tian looking to make the cross map happen in the top side.
Larsen's on his way up there as well. They're trying to make this a 2v3. There's the Destiny slicing Maelstrom coming out. Odoamne trying to survive, but you just can't survive that dive. It's a heartbreaker for Odo as he gets killed off in the top lane.
Huh? Wait, he stole Kennen's ult?
Yeah.
That's how that works?
Yeah.
So he becomes Kennen and he can steal his own teammate's ult. I didn't know that was the interaction.
It's a cool interaction.
I suppose it makes sense because you do...
You possess him, you become the champion, you have his items and everything.
But Tian doesn't get Kennen's ultimate.
No.
He has Viego's ultimate.
Really what's happened there is Tian has done all of Europe a favor. Okay, what other good old...
Wait, but now,
the quickness, the bullet time?
But hang on, but that's the icon on Larsen's...
Yeah, maybe it's just a visual thing.
Maybe it's just a visual thing. Maybe he does have... He has Viego's ultimate.
Okay, so here's why. He stole it while Viego was Kennen.
Okay.
So the icon is the icon that Viego would have, which is the Kennen ultimate because he's Kennen.
Okay.
But it's actually the heartbreaker.
But he always got...
Oh, no, but here's the question. Okay, I don't actually know this.
I don't know
Here's the question, tweet at us. If he uses it before Viego becomes Kennen again...
I don't know.
Before Viego becomes Viego again and is still Kennen, can he use the Slicing Maelstrom?
No.
I don't know either. For now, he's got the heartbreaker, and we'll keep our eyes on that.
All right. Whew. Well, that was stressful. Let's have a look back at this. Odoamne, he knows that he's in danger. Larssen tries to roam up to try and assist, but Larssen can't get in range fast enough. And while Odoamne survives for a little while, he isn't quite able to turn it into anything. Really good management of the tower aggro there from FPX. And they're all able to disengage very smoothly. So the gold remains even, the kills remain even, a lot of focus on the top side of the map for FPX, as we talked about in the draft. Meanwhile, a lot of focus on the bot side of the map for Rogue. Let's see what it turns into, because Twisted Fate Ultimate is on cooldown. Larsen's is the same, but he will be rotating up first, as we can see an engagement
going in, they're looking for LWX. There is the bullet time combo, and LWX unable to get to the Lantern. It's Odoamne with the Slicing Maelstrom in the top lane. Nuguri's low here. Tian gonna get caught out as well. He has to flash away. Nuguri has to be the target here. Cataclysm coming out as well. Doinb locks in a gold card. Larsen's still on the chase. Tian has flashed away, and Rogue continue to look for these kills. Doinb once again has that gold card in, and Larssen will be able to land the chains on Tian.
I think that was water walking coming into effect there for Tian. Actually, maybe I'm wrong in that one, but nevertheless, Tian was able to disengage from that. Was Inspired? No. Oh, Inspired is looking. but they feel like this is a bait, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way that Doinb just pushes that up without support. TP into the top lane. Odo has
Wait for the
TP.
card.
Odo has TP.
Trymbi's on his way as well. Inspire going in, Doinb with a great, oh, that
Very
was
nice.
beautiful.
That really was so well done there from Doinb, and Crisp able to sidestep that one. But let's kind of take stock, because what Rogue successfully did there was get a kill in bot lane in the 2v2, which, bear in mind, they've played 3 times now, and it is LWX and Crisp that has 2v2 killed Hans and Trymbi. They've killed Trymbi.
Yeah.
And this time around, they're finally able to get some revenge as they get kills. Meanwhile, Larssen roams up top lane and is actually able to trade back a kill, which means that Rogue are now +2 and are slightly ahead in gold. Of course, this is all going to be gone the second that this tower ends up dropping, and FPX will be able to equalize
Destiny
it.
coming out. Odoamne there, Spectral Morph for the stun. Odo able to dodge to the side just in time. If that Spectral Morph had connected, so would the Shot Blast, and that would have been a very dead Kennen. Riftherald's going to get another charge in here, but with Inspired, should go down before they can actually take the tower. FPX investing a lot into trying to take this tower. Gold card locked once again. There's no minions there, and FPX will get that extra 600 gold.
I think it was worth it for FPX.
Yeah.
They really make life difficult now for Odoamne. That wave is now so much longer. And of course, while Rogue are cross-mapping, the overall gold benefit will go into the back pocket of Rogue. This should continue to equalize the gold, though. I think the biggest thing that I'm really starting to see is, and thank you so much, Observers, for highlighting the gold, 2K is the gold lead for Hansama. He is a player that every caster and analyst has talked about for Rogue. And in a lot of games, teams have shut him down, aggressively shut him down. Now he is poised and ready to carry. He's been given all of the gold. He is miles ahead of absolutely everyone. And when it comes to these team fights, he is going to be someone that you have to keep your eyes on. Hansama in a position to help Rogue get to the quarterfinals. Remember, he's been to the quarters before. Misfits 2017, he and Alfari on that roster were able to come out, and they won the tiebreaker against TSM, I believe.
I
Was it a
believe-
tiebreaker
I
versus
think
TSM?
it was TSM.
I think it was a tiebreaker versus TSM. I seem to remember them playing 3 games, and then they were able to come out on top. He may find himself in another tiebreaker against NA if he can come out on top of this game, but FPX still very close in gold. Nuguri, the main benefactor of that with the Jayce, working towards his second item with the Eclipse already finished. Tian also with the Divine Sunderer done, and Stopwatch now grabbed and ready to go for doing level 11s are going to be coming through soon. That means level 2 in a lot of ultimates, and violence will soon ensue, is what I imagine.
It's what we hope for as well. Watching this game, basically even right now. Inspire's going to take this Drake. A little bit delayed from the time the Rift Herald was being done on the other side of the map, but now actually Trymbi and Hansama in the vicinity, in the area to spot out if this Rift Herald had been started again. First items across the board, Gale Force for both the AD carries, Everfrost for both the mid laners. And the first discrepancy we see is in that jungle. Gore Drinker to a Divine Sunderer for Tian.
Sorry, I was just thinking about, imagine if Sylas did get Kennen on, and they had 2 Kennen ons. Yeah.
I mean, that would be pretty broken.
Yeah, that would be.
I had a look at the spectator client when it was in the replay, and it showed Heartbreaker the entire time. So it showed it showed Viego.
That makes more sense to me.
It does to me as well, but it's not an interaction you often think about, or you often see. As FPX look to push in this bottom lane, Tian and Nuguri have been by each other's sides the entire game long.
Yes,
and it's just
have.
what they've been doing. They've been looking for these towers. They've been looking to crack through the defenses of Rogue, and they continue to chip away at that bot lane tier 1. Rogue will get the Rift Herald after getting the Infernal as well, though, so that's 2 neutrals over to them, and Larssen should just retreat from this situation.
Twisted Fate ultimate going to be used top lane. I was just going to say that Hansama, he's pushing towards this mid tower. The thing he has to be the most careful of is that Destiny from Doinb. But now that that's gone, this actually opens him up to be more aggressive in the mid lane if he wants to, but instead he's going to path up towards top. One of the crazy things about MF is, you already mentioned it earlier, her insane movement speed. Makes it much easier for her to rotate from lane to lane, and actually keeping her in mid is can be really valuable because of how quickly you can collapse on side. So something to keep note of as Hansama has been moved into this position. Have to note, FPX are currently up 3 towers to 1 because they secured that tier 2 in the top lane as well. They are still even on gold though, and it's because of the difference between the 2 AD carries. Hansama getting all the plates down bot lane, securing that tower as well, and more resources being funneled into him. He is level 11 right now. He is matching the solo laners because of how much Trymbi has roamed, yet Trymbi is still a level up over Crisp. He's 191 CS at 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Hansama wants to make it to quarters.
Dear me, he's having a absolute stormer of a game so far, but in these later game team fights, it's all about his positioning. He's got one cleanse, he's got one flash, he's got one gale force, and there's a hook, there's a stun card, and there's a spectral more coming for him.
So the thing that I will say about team fights is I think that in straight up 5v5, front to back, traditional team fight, Rogue has the stronger comp on paper. FPX, though, have a lot of poke, especially once the rapid fire come through from Doinb. And I imagine that when they're playing around these neutrals, if they even want to, they'll try and leverage this poke before a fight actually even starts. But I think ideally they want to try and attack the side lanes, as we've pretty much been seeing all day. You know, you push out waves, you have the TF or the Jayce shadow, one or the other. You try and look for picks on side. You try and attack these routes so you don't give your opposition the straight up 5v5. But that's a matter of, will FPX respect that and not actually go for these 5v5s at the end of the day?
Riftel being put in the mid lane here by Rogue. They want to break this tier 1. You can see Odoamne working his way across as well. Of course, Tower's not quite as tanky as they are with all of those plates. Riftel will charge, but will fall before they can take down the tower itself. So Rogue still sit at that one tower. Tian looking for the Spectral Maw. Doinb has the Destiny if he wants to join this fight. Meanwhile, it's up in the top lane pushing out that wave. Larssen doing the same on the opposite side of the map, and we're pretty symmetrical right here, Betty.
The only other thing I wanted to say about teamfights before moving on is it was Inspired who got a pentakill on Viego.
Yeah.
That helped him even get to Worlds in the first place.
I mean, it was the reason that they beat Misfits in that best of 5. They were 2-2, they were on the losing end, and then Inspired gets the penta. Larssen looking for the Heartbreaker, stolen away from Tian. Rest of Rogue on their way as well, but nothing really doing there. Rapid fire cannon now complete for Doinb.
And the main point that I wanted to make there was that Viego is always that X factor when it comes to team fights. One reset could literally be enough to swing an entire fight in the favor of FPX. So even though I think on paper Rogue's comp is stronger in the 5v5, there are these other variables to take into consideration. For now, the gold continues to remain even. Once Odoamne takes down this tower, we should see the gold pretty much flatline. And once again, FPX is trying to play towards their strong side of the map. They're working towards the tier 2. Now they're looking for a pick on a Larssen.
TP coming in. There's a gold card looking for Larssen as Trymbi dives onto the backline with the quickness. Nuguri has to flash away. Ignite ticking, slicing Maelstrom coming out the Rocky Bell, not able to get him in range. But Doinb has to pop the stopwatch, and there's the first reset. Hansama has the bullet time. Hansama has the flash. Gale Force for the execute. A double for Hans. LWX opens the curtains, but Hansama's looking to shut them down with a bullet time. Tian has to flash away. The chase is on. Inspired now joins the fray, and that is 4 kills for 1 in favor of Rogue.
And just like that, Hansama, the assassin AD carry, comes out of nowhere right behind FPX and shuts them down. 3-0-4 is now the scoreline for him. Oh, hang on.
LWX can probably do this. Gale Force, that's enough.
But what does it cost?
LWX has flash, has exhaust, puts the exhaust down. Hansama looking for the damage from the side, but remember, he has no gap closer here. However, Larssen is on his way. LWX will flash and get dunked in the river. Everfrost coming out here as they try and turn it back on to Jayce. Nuguri has to flash away. Shock blast. Not quite enough damage to kill off the Jayce.
That is... Well, okay, so Rogue is going to choose to disengage, not overcommit for that Drake. But let's have a look back at this play and this new Axe Effect replay. So FPX is just playing around the side lanes. We've talked about it pretty much all game. They're looking for a pick because they think Larsen's overextended. He's able to disengage. Then Trymbi commits because they know, look at the minimap. You can see that Hansama is making his way over and how quickly he's able to collapse. Then when the fight initially looks like it's going in favor of FPX, flashes over the wall, Gale Force into Auto immediately turns the fight in their favor. Hansama does not want to get knocked out of the World Championship just yet, and he is doing everything in his power to turn it around. Huge props to obviously the other members of Rogue to set that one up for Hans to knock it right down.
As part of that Rogue squad last year that went 1-5, a lot of people criticized them just as a roster for a disappointing showing here. They came into a group by many people seen as done before a game had even been played. Everyone was saying, Dom 1 FPX make it through. Rogue and C9 have had other things to say. Of course, FPX still have the opportunity. Dom 1, 6-0. They're definitely the best of the 4. But Rogue and C9 are trying to fight back for the West. And of course, if Rogue can win this, they will face C9 in the final match of the group.
I mean, that's one perspective too, right? Should Rogue win this matchup, an NA or EU team is guaranteed in the quarterfinals, you know?
No airport speedruns for us, lads. Let's go.
The West, you know? 07s in chat, you know what I mean?
Sorry, is one team in quarterfinals enough to us to say the West has risen up once?
No, it's not. I didn't say that. It's just the West is not that bad.
Gap is closing.
No, it's not. It's just, you know, Anyway, focusing back in on this game, it's obviously not completely over yet for FPX. They're only about 2.5k gold down. The problem they have is that they are looking down the barrel of a Hans Summer, who is level 13, working towards his Infinity Edge. And Larssen, who, to his credit, 302, is also very strong himself. Not quite 257 CS, 22 minutes strong, but definitely very strong. You just feel like FPX is playing on the back foot because this whole composition relies on trying to attack the side lanes. Yep. And they haven't really been able to do that. You can see that Nuguri, while he is still very strong, I don't think he's at I can 1v9 this game levels of strong. And Rogue
has no sums. He tries to get out with the Gale Force, but you can't dodge across the wall. You're locked in there with Inspired and locked in there with Rogue. Rogue now, a man advantage could turn to the Baron.
Nuguri doesn't have TP either. Remember, he used it in the mid lane. We saw that little scrap with Larssen, and I think that FPX are either going to have to try and fight this 3 versus 5 or give it up completely.
Tian still in position to perhaps steal, has the smite, no flash on him. Trimby's going to go across. Blast cone there. Trimby in a good position with the quickness here to dive in. Rogue starts to disengage. Inspired. EQ combo available for him. They keep the Baron aggroed for the moment. Nuguri now has worked his way up from the top side. There's the Everfrost. Onto Trymbi, pops the stopwatch. Baron down to 2,500. Trymbi dodging away. Rogue looking to burn through the Baron. Tian gets in, but Rogue get it. Inspired secures it. Tian jumped in and out. Couldn't quite take the Baron away, and now he might look for a little bit of this fight. Could try and stop it back. Doesn't manage to do it.
Wow, that was risky though. Flipping that Baron versus Tian was a very dangerous thing to do for Rogue, but taking some inspiration from Damwon earlier in the day, leveraging the Miss Fortune ultimate to burst it down to make it that much harder. Inspired was able to secure it, and now with the Baron buff, Rogue find themselves with a 4,000 gold lead in prime control to take the first tiebreaker. The winner of this game will go up against Cloud9. But now with the Baron buff, Rogue is looking to break into the base.
Could be problem this Shirley is there in the middle lane, perhaps wondering if he could catch out Doinb. Inspired in a good position to the side once again. Cataclysm just off cooldown. Mid lane tier 2 is forfeit as Rogue push into it. Nuguri and Doinb trying to defend, but they can't do it. Meanwhile, Odoamne has a wave stacked down towards the bottom lane if Rogue want to rotate across there.
They'll likely keep 1 or 2 people in the mid lane, or actually, oh, interesting. Okay, so they'll just let Odoamne solo push it down towards the bot side of the map. Typically, you would just want to keep, as exactly you're seeing on your screen right now, Hans Summer and Trymbi around mid to instantly clear out this wave so that when the next wave comes in, they can Baron power it up and FPX is forced to catch it without any sort of leverage, which gives Rogue the opportunity to reset. They get themselves 2 quick towers and they can spend some of the gold that they've just acquired. Infinity Edge now being finished. The Starak's also in the back pocket of Inspired, and it looks like Odoamne working towards his death cap as well.
2 more towers over to Rogue. FPX trying to find a way back into this game. As you said, their power is side lanes, but Rogue haven't really had to meet them in the side lane. A lot of the time it's been LWX getting caught out in these last couple of plays. And because the Cataclysm alongside the flag and drag combo from Inspired gives you such a long range engage, it's very difficult for LWX to survive.
But I mean, just look at the levels, right? Like, if FPX were to team fight right now, Doinb is 2 levels down. Yep. Yes, he does have 3 items, but those levels matter. And Larssen is so much stronger and will offer so much more in the 5v5. Now, Jayce is trying to split push in the bot lane, but he's going to be forced to recall as Rogue now knock on the doors of FPX's base.
And a minion there, Baroned up on Summer. Takes a chunk down to about 1,000. Odoamne pushing in the mid lane as well, and it looks like Rogue will want to reset before this dragon would be their 3rd of the game. A Mountain Soul on the horizon for them. They're going to back, they're going to get their wards, and then they're going to walk back on towards the map. You can see control wards, 3 of the inventories.
Sorry, I was looking at the inventories and I see Zhonya's stopwatch, Zhonya's stopwatch on the side of Rogue.
And you want to know why FPX are losing this game?
Yeah, because not enough stopwatches.
One Zhonya's, no stopwatches. As Trymbi looks for the quickness engage here in the middle lane. Bullet time coming out. Nuguri is able to survive. TP's coming out from Rogue as well at the moment. It's a 3v5. Hans Summer low. Tian trying to kill him off. Trymbi kills off LWX. Cataclysm coming out. But Doinb onto Hans Summer on the back line has to be what you have to watch. But instead, Odoamne doesn't care about Doinb. He just slices through FPX. And now Rogue, 4 members strong, Baron buff expired, could look to push down these inhibitors.
A huge flank from Odoamne comes in and he is able to melt through the lineup of FPX. He's finally able to dish back some of the punishment that he experienced in the early game. And FPX falls short once more. 3 members dead. Rogue will finally be able to break into the base.
Doinb and Chris trying to defend here as Rogue push forward. Minions in the mid lane will help Larssen with that backdoor. Without the backdoor bonus, obviously Tian now up in 4 seconds. No inhibitors fall here for FPX. The Dragon wasn't taken either, so Rogue don't have that soul on the way. However, Baron up in 2 minutes time, maybe Rogue will want to play around that.
But now Rogue is just going to steal away everything. Initially, this fight didn't actually look all that bad for FPX. Look at Hansa. Oh, wow, forces the flash out from Nuguri. No reliable engage actually comes through from Trymbi. He's perma-CC'd. Hansama takes a lot of damage, but then here comes Odoamne with a huge ultimate to just provide so much CC, so much damage. Inspired with the lockdown on the ultimate, and then Doinb using his ultimate to get out of danger to prevent Hansama from securing himself another kill. So very well played team fight from Rogue. And again, you're seeing how difficult it is for FPX to just play the straight up front-to-back team fight, especially when that Kennen is able to get onto the back line.
Yeah, my eyes were all focused on Hansama. I'm like, he's the key carry for Rogue, and Odoamne has other plans. Slicing Maelstrom still does a lot of work, even if you are not as far ahead as this AD carry. Almost a flame horizon for Hansama over LWX. A couple more CS would get to that point. Mounted Drake now taken by Rogue. A 6,000 gold lead. It's going to be a very difficult walk here for FPX to get back on into this game.
And what a shocker for FPX, because so many people have already said it, but they were considered tournament favorites. I remember seeing, my rating was FPX, Dom1, and EDG as top 3, with RNG being the big dark horse. You know, it was one of these 4 teams, in my opinion, that was going to win the World Championship. And when people saw this group, everyone believed that FPX and Dom1 would be fighting for first. Similar to what we saw last year when it was Dom1 and JDG, and they took games off of each other. But they have not performed to the level that they expected, and now they're making a play to try and get back in.
Larssen uses the stopwatch, flashes away from the Everfrost, Trymbi stunned up with the gold card, Inspired's on the way. Odoamne has a flank position here as well, and the counter destiny has been used. Trymbi going in, looking for Doinb, quickness used, and there's Cataclysm onto Nuguri on the backline. And meanwhile, Nuguri just can't do anything, locked up in place. Rogue able to find 2 more kills. And that Baron looking very juicy 20 seconds away.
It certainly is, Medic. FPX, they tried to go for a pick on a side lane. Larssen is able to navigate his way out of that situation, and even if they wanted to fight, it was never going to be good. LWX nowhere near the fight. It was always going to be 5v4. Rogue extend their goal lead to 7,000. And with the Baron in their sights, it is unlikely that FPX will be able to contest.
It's truly a shocker for FPX, as you say. However, Tian does still have Flash, does still have Smite, does still have the Heartbreaker to get into the pit. Everfrost to try and keep him away here. Larssen trying to keep that jungler at bay. Odoamne locked up, Slicing Maelstrom coming out. Crisp almost down. Odoamne posts the stopwatch. Larssen trading onto Tian as well. The Heartbreaker coming out, but the resets just aren't quite there. Tian will fall. Larssen and Rogue will get the Baron. 2 kills down. TP coming in. As Nuguri and Doinb going to join this fight. They might actually look to take down this mid lane tier 2 before Rogue can react.
Remember that they do have a numbers advantage here with a wave right behind them. They could keep pushing this if they wanted to, but instead they're not going to take the gamble with Inspired. Larssen and Hansama are all still up and alive. Looks like that they're just going to back off. Rogue will secure themselves the Baron. Frozen Heart coming through from Inspired. I quite like that. So many auto attackers on the side of FPX, offering that little bit of attack speed reduction. Always very nice.
Especially if you're jumping right on top of them.
Yep. The GA now also completed for Hansama, level 16. He's a higher level than Doinb. 345 CS at 30 minutes. An incredibly impressive game from the AD carry from Rogue. Really an impressive tournament overall from him. And now he's level 17. No, he's just higher than everyone. He's higher than
everyone but
Larssen.
Yeah.
But Larssen, that's absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, he has been funneled this game.
That is true.
Definitely, you can see Odoamne sitting at 240 CS. About 60 behind Nuguri. But right now, Lichbane finished for Doinb. FPX on their last legs. One last defense, one last hope for the LPL in this game. Inspired, looking for that position to get in. Oracle's pop to clear out this ward. Gold card locked for Doinb, but he's going to be able to find his mark yet. Hansama, no cleanse on him. Well, no QSS has the cleanse. As the bot lane inhibitor tower, Rogue's target with this Baron buff. Bullet time coming out. Nuguri forced back to base. Hook lands onto Trymbi. Only Hansama heals up from the minion wave. Larssen and Odoamne chunk to half. However, with the Baroned up minions pushing in, Rogue will look to take their first inhibitor of the game. Tian is going to step forward and Rogue will take it and back away. Wave's not in the best of spots in mid and top for them to go and get another one. Instead, it looks like they're going to reset.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that Dragon spawns in minutes time. And we are approaching, well, late game. And if they die, those death times are quite long, and there's a real chance that they could lose out on the Baron and give FPX another way back into the game. So they just said, you know what, with only a minute left on this Baron, let's just create a little bit of pressure. We've taken down the bot inhib. We've created a source that FPX have to deal with, and now we can attempt another push towards the second inhibitor.
Also place some wards in that red side jungle in case a dragon fight starts. Odoamne, no TP on him, but Larssen could look for a flank play if FPX decides to push out that way.
Look at this as well. Rogue trying to steal absolutely everything away from FPX in their half of the jungle as well. Continuing to deny these smaller neutral objectives in the blue and the red. Baron now. Baron. Dragon, 15 seconds. And this area of the map does not belong to FPX.
You see, walking into darkness, placing the ward over the wall there. Crisp just trying to get some vision, uses the oracles as well to sweep out as they step forward. Larssen is not with the team right here. Destiny coming out to keep Rogue eyes on. As FPX know that they have a man advantage for a moment until this TP comes in. Larssen's going to join the fray. Odoamne has flash, has slicing, Maelstrom has the stopwatch. Doinb has the gold card locked in Mountain.
That's a lot of wards in the pit. Rogue going to look to pull this one out. Bot wave is continuing to push in. Destiny is on cooldown.
Spire tries to get into this push without being seen, but he is spotted. Tian only level 14 here, but of course smites equalize at 900 damage. Curtains open, Hansama takes one, takes two. There's the quickness onto the backline, he's looking for the charm, and then look just to burst down Doinb! And the bullet time means die, Phoenix, die! Doinb will fall. Larssen dives onto the backline as well, and there is the damage onto LWX. Odo with the shutdown. Chris trying to get into the middle of Rogue, but he just can't do enough. It's a clean ace for Rogue as they make their way to the tiebreakers.
5 still alive for Rogue, 5 dead on the former world champions of FPX. Their world championship run will end right now as Rogue continue to advance in the tiebreakers to face Cloud9 for a spot in the quarterfinals.
Once more into the breach, my friends, once more. Rogue have one more opportunity, one shot to make it to quarters. FPX are knocked out of Worlds 2021.
And such a massive comeback win for Rogue. They have looked shaky throughout the entire group stage, but Hansama was unleashed in this game. Larssen was able to match any of the early pressure that Doinb was trying to throw out, and in the team fights, it was Rogue that came out on top. Huge win for EU, as they will now get one last shot at making it out of Group A, as Rogue and Cloud9 will fight for the final spot.
And of course, Cloud9 have had a little bit of extra time to set up, a little bit of extra time to watch Rogue play against FPX, and will be looking hungrily at that quarterfinal spot. Have had an incredible day today, 2-1, only losing to Dam1. Cloud9 should be favorites coming into this final game on current form.
Certainly should be, but also once again, commiserations to FPX.
Yeah.
Truly a shocking outcome, given the expectations, especially with how Doinb has been playing all year.
Yeah.
Rated so highly, and how could he not be? He looked so incredible. To then have FPX perform the way that they did is truly shocking. And of course, the LPL is still a very, very strong region. Still a lot left of the tournament.
Still probably 2 of the tournament favorites in RNG, EDG,
2
right?
of the tournament favorites indeed. So quite a shocker. FPX will be knocked out of Worlds as we move into our final tiebreaker to round out Group A.
We're looking forward to that final game of the day. Be sure to check out the new Spotify exclusive podcast, Rift Reaction, hosted by Travis Gafford and Emily Rand. And for the next episode, they want to hear from you. What team with a losing record has the best shot at making the bracket stage? Well, Rogue or C9. Head to Rift Reaction on Spotify and select the latest episode to submit your answer. Listen in on the next episode of Rift Reaction on Tuesday. With that win, Rogue stay alive at Worlds while FPX end their journey here. We're looking ahead towards our deciding tiebreaker game in just a minute, so be sure to stay with us.
What you gonna do now? gonna die today, make it out alive. You gotta conquer the monster in your head, and then you'll fly, fly, Phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your teammates, then tear down the ceiling, Phoenix fly. And now you're playing with matches, come out of the ashes underneath you. A million voices in the crowd, they're screaming, stop now. We'll let them swallow the pride, turning the tides, true believers. Got them in the palm of your hand, you're playing God now. What you gonna do now? It's your reflection looking back to pull you down. So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head, and then you'll fly, fly, Phoenix fly. It's time for a new empire. Go bury your teammates, then tear down the ceiling, Phoenix fly. So are you gonna die today or make it out alive? You gotta conquer the monster in your head, and then you'll fly,
Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Rogue came back in the 11th hour with back-to-back wins versus FPX and now have a shot at making quarterfinals. For 2019 World Champion FPX, their run towards another title ends here, and it's a particular piece of brilliance and also cruelty from our production team that they played Phoenix in that last break. But naturally, Lyric, I have to go to you first, man, because you know how I feel as an
Yeah.
LEC pundit, but I got to know how you feel in this moment.
You know, I feel like for me, and for all LPL fans out there, it's a sad day, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad day, right? FPX clearly weren't the better team coming into this tournament. I think they didn't play at all like we saw in LPL. Again, we talked about bad meta read, bad like overall individual skill like being lower than we expected coming in, but you know, we got other teams. I think for FPX, it's quite sad. They didn't make Worlds last year, so this was really their time to come back and like look to get a second title. But yeah, I think now we're just looking at Rogue and what they'll be able to do.
I think a fair thing, and of course FPX, it is naturally it's sad to see them get knocked out of the tournament. I envy you with your 4 seeds, both of you, actually, and the luxury of being like, it's fine, we lost one. Appreciate what you have, gentlemen. That's all I'll say in this exact moment. But one person who is going to get a lot of appreciation this game, Chronicler, is Hansama.
It's got to be Hans. Like, he was the one person I feel who almost took the team on his back in the Diamond game. Of course, there was impacts from his Spider as well, similar to this game. And I think Rogue as a whole played well around him. But this game, again, on the Miss Fortune, getting so much resources. And if you see the way he utilizes those resources, it's not a shocker, right? Because the fact that he's able to arrive, and if you take a look to the top left here, you're going to see him zoom in. He blast coned over this wall, flashes over this one, Gil forces in, and in of itself, this play, like, it looks cool, but it doesn't really tell you that much, right? Because like, it's a good trade. Rogue don't necessarily get like a mind-blowing advantage of it, even though it's a good punish. But it's more kind of emblematic for the performance that we've seen from this player throughout basically the entirety of the group stage. Like, no matter what Rogue's performance has been, Hansama has been insane.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like even like looking beyond these super awesome highlights of like him in team fights, even in lane this game, they were doing super well up against FPX's bot lane. And the one thing about this matchup is in the previous 2 bouts, FPX's bot lane actually solo killed them both times. But this time around, they were doing really good in terms of like CSD. And this time they were bringing Inspired down towards the bottom lane and capitalizing on it, diving them 2v2 as well. And it feels like that was really the big opening for Rogue to find this win.
Absolutely was. And I think fantastic to see Hansam perform that. We'll see if he can perform in the next game as well. Obviously, pressure continues from Rogue, but again, bringing us back to FPX. FPX, one of the tournament favorites. And you highlighted it already once, and I think we just have to say it again because it's weird to talk about, but this is the last time that we will talk about this team at Worlds, which feels so wrong because we saw, even in the World Championship that they won, really shaky group stage performances. So to me, when I looked at this team, it was always, they're not out until they're out. You know what I mean? Like I was always like, they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. And then they didn't figure it out in the final moments. And like, we've talked about it a little bit already, but Chronicler, what was your read on kind of FPX throughout this tournament as someone who's, wasn't immediately part of the OPO?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of multiple things. I think it's just a drop in overall gameplay. This is something that we saw with Domin as well. If you look at like their summer finals and then spring finals and their MSI, there was a notable drop. I think that the meta never really kind of it didn't really fit them, and it also took them a lot of games to kind of get a grasp on it, right? And then I think the final couple of games, it was just this shell-shocked feeling of already being in such a disadvantaged position, because it's got to mess with your mental as well if you come into the tournament as one of the favorites. There were many people that had them on the first place on that list, right? At the very least in the top 3. So to then be like fighting for your life already after a pretty good week 1, I think it's understandable that the team kind of crumbled under the pressure.
Yeah, it certainly is. And of course, still sad to see FPX go. But of course, there remains a game in front of us, all crucial, deciding the second seed to make it out of this group. After the break, Rogue are going to return to the stage to fight for their lives once again as they take on Cloud9 in a direct elimination match. NA versus EU to make it out of groups. Do not go anywhere. We will be right back.